Have you ever wondered why there's a surge in attacks on U.S. military bases recently? The frequency of these incidents has been on a sharp uptick, particularly in the volatile crucible that is the Middle East. Since the start of the Israel and Hamas war on October 7th, there have been approximately 70 attacks on American bases, a number that is as staggering as it is alarming. This escalating trend is raising serious questions about the U.S.'s ability to maintain control and command over Middle Eastern nations. The real concern, however, is not just the rising number of attacks, but the apparent lack of effective response. With only 4 retaliatory strikes by the U.S. troops, it seems as though the American military might be in a precarious situation, under constant threat from Iran-backed militia groups. As we dive deeper, we'll explore the underlying issues contributing to this escalating situation. In order to understand the present, we need to look at the past. The Israel and Hamas war marked a turning point. The conflict between Israel and Hamas, two of the most powerful entities in the Middle East, is a complex, deeply rooted issue. It's a tale that weaves together a tapestry of politics, religion, and territorial disputes, each thread tangled with the next. The latest chapter in this ongoing saga began in earnest in the early days of October. It was a time of escalating tensions and increasing hostilities, marking the start of a series of events that would send shockwaves across the region. The causes of this war are numerous and multifaceted. At its core, it's a battle for control, a fight to determine who has the right to rule, to exist. It's a war punctuated by key events, each one escalating the stakes and increasing the tension. Rocket attacks, retaliatory strikes, ceasefires broken and reformed, each event a piece of a larger, more complex puzzle. The impact of this conflict on the Middle East region has been immense. It's not just a war confined to the borders of Israel and Gaza. No. Its effects ripple out, touching each nation in the region. It has reshaped alliances, created new enemies, and tested the resolve of even the most steadfast nations. But what about the U.S.? As one of the key actors on the global stage, the United States hasn't remained untouched by this conflict. In fact, it has led to a significant increase in attacks on U.S. bases in the region. From Iraq to Syria, American facilities have become targets, drawing the U.S. military into a conflict that seems to have no end in sight. With the backdrop of war, the U.S.'s command over Middle East nations appears to be dwindling. In the face of increasing attacks, the question arises, can the U.S. retain its influence and protect its troops amidst the chaos? The answer to that question is still unclear, and as the conflict continues to evolve, only time will reveal the true cost of this war. Amidst the chaos, the Biden administration faces mounting challenges. The rising tide of attacks on U.S. military bases in the Middle East has thrown a harsh spotlight on the current administration's approach to handling the situation. Since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict on October 7th, there have been approximately 71 attacks on U.S. bases, a staggering number that has raised serious concerns. In the face of this escalating threat, the Biden administration's response has been measured, with only 4 retaliatory attacks conducted by U.S. troops. This restrained approach has led to questions about the administration's ability to effectively secure the safety of U.S. troops in the region. The numbers tell a stark story: 4 retaliatory attacks versus 71 suffered. It's a disparity that has raised eyebrows and concerns in equal measure. Are our troops adequately protected? Is the administration doing enough to safeguard those who put their lives on the line? The situation is complex, with no easy answers. But as the attacks continue unabated, these questions grow louder, and the pressure on the Biden administration increases. The question remains, is the U.S. military just sitting ducks under the Biden administration? Behind these attacks lurks a common perpetrator. The rising tide of violence on U.S. military bases in the Middle East is, in large part, orchestrated by Iran-backed militia groups. These groups have shown a predilection for drone attacks, a tool of warfare that allows them to strike with precision and relative impunity. Notable instances include the attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria, where they have caused significant casualties and damage. These militia groups not only represent a direct threat to U.S. personnel and interests, but also contribute to the destabilization of the region. Their actions complicate an already fraught geopolitical landscape, driving wedges between nations and further inflaming tensions. The role of these Iran-backed groups also carries weighty implications for U.S.-Iran relations. Each attack strains the fragile threads of diplomacy and pushes the possibility of peaceful resolution further out of reach. As the situation continues to evolve, the future of U.S. military presence in the Middle East hangs in the balance. So what does the future hold for U.S. military bases in the Middle East? The situation we find ourselves in is complex and fraught with danger. The rising attacks on U.S. bases, further exacerbated by the Israel and Hamas war, have highlighted the urgent need for strategic reassessment. The Biden administration faces a daunting task, caught in a precarious balancing act of maintaining security while navigating the volatile political landscape. The role of Iran-backed groups in these attacks only adds another layer of complexity. As we continue to watch the situation unfold, one thing is certain: the stakes for U.S. military involvement in the Middle East have never been higher.